can, kind of work on that, so hopefully he gave me 15 first to get it done. And I have 10 rezone applications coming in, and bless her heart, your hubby, bless his heart, he got two that's crazy.
I know.
I meet with him in the morning at 10, or at 2, one of them, I got one at 10:30, I think he's at 10:30. So, a little bit of pressure there, but it's okay.
I may be wrong. Christmas is well, trying to get everything modified.
Yeah.
Right, and see, I can't put the 2023 amendment in, so we don't have the AR going to 4 acres until next year. I hate it that with everything is just not in there, but you have to do it by year. And, that complication, but I may have him if we could throw that in, because, that's what people read on the internet, and without knowing that amendment has happened, you wouldn't know.
Right.
And so I might have to throw that in somehow.
Christopher and I talked about it several months or a year or more. That's
great. Let's roll with that. Father's home builder had a home. He had already put one son a home, and then they were cutting off parcels for the third one. That parcel changed the property right. Is there a point when a drive is being, drive gets assigned?
Yes, and I honestly am not familiar with it. I know the road department kind of sets those boundaries. Right. Well, it has to be,
How are you?
well, it's the same as an easement. It can only access up to 4 parcels. And with a private drive, they have to, the property owners have to own it. Whereas an easement, they don't. So I really don't know how it's.
When it was approved last night, somebody else mentioned it. So they will get a.
Oh, you're fine. Thanks, sir. The comp plan, I thought about doing that, but I just don't. Well, I do too, but that was a lot of the county. Well, trying to replace all that, because they end up being the ones that maintain it, but when you deem it private drive, I think that's. I hope not. That's a good question, I think I'll ask. They just started doing
Right.
Yeah.
I need to read about push on.
They want to make the list run their switch, we got to pull the tab, get the switch to turn it on.
You're not happy with it? So I guess we'll have a lively discussion.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Cynthia hadn't shown, but maybe she's going to show. It's some time for us to get started with our business meeting. First of all, let me welcome everyone that's here tonight to our business meeting for the thing is on the commission. If you would, as usual, please stand with me for a word of prayer, and we will get started. Oh God, our Father, once again, that we're bound in our presence, thanking Thee for all the good and perfect gifts Thou bestowed upon us. Our Father, we know that we can't do anything without Thee. Our Father, we ask that You come and guide our minds as we try to do the county's business. Our Father, we ask that You bless each and every one in this entire world. Our Father, we are living in a world of turmoil, but we know that if we call on Thee, everything will be okay. These and other blessings we ask in Thy Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I don't have any required statements that I need to read tonight. I think most of you and Commission have received the minutes of April 8th and April 18th.
April 4th.
I'm sorry, April 4th and April 18th. Thank you, I need to put a glass on. Can I get a, motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we accept the minutes as published.
Okay, we have a motion by Bruce.
Second.
Okay, second by Kenneth, the minutes of April 4th and April 18th be approved. Any discussion? If not, we'll start with Jeff.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
So are we counting Cynthia on that one?
No.
That's why I waited, I thought you.
I didn't want to say them.
Got in the middle of it. Minutes approved. I didn't have any old business that's listed, but I do want to bring you up to date on what happened at the commissioners meeting on last evening. Everything that you had sent to them was approved except for two things. There was actually some people that spoke in opposition to the 4-acre, change it from 2 acres to 4 acres, but the commissioners did approve it by a vote of 5-1. The dog kennel was talked about in length, and it was sent back. It was not approved or disapproved. They talked to the gentleman and asked him and gave him 60 days to come back with some additional information as to exactly where it would be located and what kind of structures he's going to build, and give him time to communicate with the neighbors and see if they all could get together and come up with a suitable plan. They were not against it, but they were not clear on exactly what his plans were. Now, this does not have to come back before this board, but it will come back before them, and they will have another public hearing in 60 days. Okay, and the accessory dwelling was tabled because there were some of the commissioners wanted more information, wanted to be more clear as to exactly what accessory dwelling is, and I think Commissioner Chandler was the one that really pushed for that, but they wanted more clarification and they wanted more time to talk about it, so that will come back before them again. So that was not approved, that was just tabled. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
But I was just wondering, did you get a sensation from the commissioners on whether or not that was something that would be envisioned for the agricultural area or not? I mean, what was the hesitation with, I guess you mentioned Commissioner Chandler?
Yes.
What was his?
Well, Bruce, I think I'm going to impose on our attorney to speak for me in this, because I was one of the ones that spoke in opposition to. I was not here when that happened. I was the one that spoke in opposition to, so therefore I feel like I may be a little bit one-sided on this issue. So would you mind?
Yeah, this is talking about the change from 2 acres to 4 acres.
No, the
accessory.
accessory dwelling. Accessory dwelling.
Remind me what they did. Did they approve that one?
No, they tabled it.
Postponed it
Oh, they
for
postponed it. Yeah.
30 days. They want me to come up with definitions that are used throughout the state, how they're used in other counties and municipalities,
Yeah, I wasn't real clear what the issue there was. There was some talk that made me think that maybe they thought you could have more than one ADU, which I looked up the definition and it clearly says second, so.
Yeah, I think they were wanting, my opinion, but they were wanting, it seemed like some of them were confused where a hardship, an ADU, and a secondary home all come into play. They
Yeah.
wanted clarity between what our ordinance say and how it mirrors other places in the state. Is how I took it, and that's the email I got today with the
Okay.
question.
Okay, I mean, that may be.
Along with a lot of other stuff, but that, in particular with ADU, how is an ADU not a hardship? If it's not the primary dwelling, what's the difference between like a secondary home and a pool house, for instance?
Right.
Well, if a pool house has a bathroom and a dwelling place, and that's a dwelling in and of itself, whether it's, they had a little bit of confusion on connected, how it could be one with a connecting breezeway with the same pitch. I won't get into the codes. But,
Yeah, I
you know,
understand that
there's a
either.
lot
Yeah,
of gray, in there, and they were wanting more clear cut, and they understood.
And there was a lot of discussion about doubling the acreage for an ADU.
Okay, all right.
well, there were some speakers from the audience that were very much against it. Then at least Commissioner Chandler felt like it was a good idea to at least double it, if not do away with ADUs altogether. But as far as board action, as I recall, you know, he sort of discussed that, and made the motion, let's just double it as presented. Before there was any other discussion, Derek said, let's table it, and they all agreed, let's table it.
He seconded it for discussion.
Yeah, seconded for discussion, that's right, and then said, let's table it, and everybody was fine with that.
And then they made the amended discussion to come back to it.
Thank you very much.
So,
I'm sorry.
for anything, it was tabled and it will come back to them at a later date.
So in other words, he's wanting to double it from 20 acres to 40 acres?
No.
No, what you approved was to go from 4 to 8 and from 10 to 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that's what Terry said, yeah, let's just do that, that's what I meant as presented. But then he quickly agreed when others suggested, let's postpone it, so.
All right. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell what happened, last night. Quite interesting. Ms. Tracy, we're gonna turn it over to you at this point to, new business discussion of zoning application for May 16th, public hearing.
All right, first up, we have Marcia Young. She is requesting to rezone her 2 adjoining properties, one containing 6.48 and the other 7.07 acres, from A1 to A2, to combine into one parcel for a total of 13.55 acres. This will also allow the properties to be brought into compliance with zoning regulations. The properties are located at 672 and 678 Highway 191 in Comer on map 67, parcels 76 and 77 in District 2. Now, this one comes with a backstory. Our building inspector was out doing an inspection on a manufactured home on the property and discovered that they are operating an illegal dog kennel, which would be, in our terms, non-conforming. They have not been approved, you know, through a conditional use to operate that. However, they
Not a
do.
lawful non-conforming, it was illegal from the get-go.
From the get-go, that's right. And they do say that they're state registered, but I've yet to see, I've asked on 2 occasions for them to bring it, and I've yet to see it. I will say that our animal control officer, Misty Carlisle, is really wanting to have that shut down. She said that it was her opinion one day that there was over 260-something dogs there, and that she felt that it was a puppy mill. Our building inspector also felt that it was nothing but a puppy mill. And the reason for this first thing, it's kind of a 2-step process. As you know, she had just 2 smaller parcels, so she couldn't operate it. You have to have, at the smallest, the A2, 10 acres.
Correct.
Well, she's A1, so she's short from being 25 acres, of course. So she has decided to combine those two properties, which she can lawfully because there's a home on each tract, but with the ADU as it is now, she can get away with that, because she does live in the primary dwelling. So, you know, this one's kind of like a double-edged sword. We're bringing these parcels into conformity, but at the same time, we're setting up where she can operate a dog kennel. However, they can't go hand in hand because the rezone had to happen first where they're combined. And then she is on the August agenda. I couldn't get her in on July, we were already full. But on the August agenda for the conditional use request to operate that dog kennel. So that's just a little bit of the backstory about it.
Question for you.
Yes.
I understand the illegal puppy mill thing. But this is a request to go from A1 to A2.
Right.
Do we, as a board, consider the legal thing that's going on now when we talk about rezoning from A1 to A2?
You can. Yeah, having an ongoing violation, now sometimes, of course, a conditional use is the solution to an ongoing violation or a rezone, but sometimes it's not. I mean, I don't remember exactly where it is, but I think it's in all zoning ordinances that, you know, one of the criteria is, are you in compliance? And they're not. So yeah, one answer could be, you got to stop that illegal use before we'll grant it.
They to add on to them, they continued to use, animal control and the Georgia Department of Agriculture were both opening investigations, and then we lost animal control. In Madison County, we don't have an officer at this point, an animal control officer. So, from the canine safety point of view, we didn't have a person in place to carry through with the court aspect of it, the legalities of it. Because that is a defined position in the county that you have to have filled to be able to cast those citations. The state has reached out to me. They've come into the office asking lots of questions, and I visited the site today for about the 12th time in the past year.
Okay, and that answered, I mean, they actually answered my question, you know, and just wanted to know, were we to consider the illegal operations that's going on? But in fairness to her, I think that we need to, you know, not form any opinions until the public hearing, until we actually hear from her for that, for the applicant. Anything else?
I have one. I may have missed it, but what is the reason that they're wanting to combine the properties in the first place? I understand the non-conformity, you know, get it in conformity, but
Right.
what's the ultimate goal? Why do they want to join the properties?
So they can continue their, dog kennel.
So they can go to A2 and become legal.
Yeah, because they're in A1 right now, and you have to have 25 acres to operate a dog kennel. So their only other option is to do this.
So an inspection revealed this dog business,
And we've got pictures
which has
and they're.
prompted them wanting to go to A2 in order to try to operate.
Exactly.
Is she aware of going from intense ag, if there's any other things going on the property that?
She is, and there's not any farming practices.
Any additional questions, Mr. Tracy? All right, number 2.
If y'all do go to visit that site, they do have a gate that remains locked. It's got this arm on it and everything, just so y'all know, coming in. It's a long drive, but if y'all need help gaining access, please reach out to me and I'll make it happen.
Okay.
All right, the second one up is Andrea Wayland, and she is requesting to rezone her 8.37 acres from A2 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming property into compliance with current zoning regulations. The property is located at 559 Serenity Lane in Danielsville on map 34, parcel 2 in District 2. Now, I apologize, I haven't been keeping up with this. I was going to see if there was anything on that kennel that might be relevant. No, we don't have any pictures. Okay, so there is an end goal for this. The end goal is to allow two acre splits, one for the son and one for the daughter, for a total of 3 tracts. But the first thing, you know, she's in a non-conforming zone right now because she only has 8.37 acres. She's on A2, which, you know, is a 10-acre minimum. So she needs to rezone that to AR to bring it into conformity. And I was told last night by the chairman of the Board of Commissioners that all applications that were received prior to the last night's vote, May 1st, are, I know we don't say it, but grandfathered in, and can continue to do the 2-acre split.
Correct.
Anything after last night has to go by the new rule. So,
Any application that not already been filed.
exactly,
There's
exactly.
no application to do a 2-acre split on this one. She'll be bound to a 4-acre split.
She already applied for September.
She's already applied.
And she's coming through in September.
Applied for.
She's coming through now. Oh, or you're talking about the second phase.
She had to come back to the second phase to get it split,
But
right?
now the way
So the second phase is she's presenting a plat for approval. Has she done that? Would be a second phase of zoning.
Right. The site plan,
She wants to split it twice into 2
So-
other parcels, and I guess that's what we're voting on is this. That's, she wants to rezone it and to be able to split 2-acre parcels off on the back side. Do I remember
yeah,
that right?
and there is limited road frontage, and it will require an easement for the 2 new lots, but they're right on the county line with Franklin County, and the river backs the property. But yes, it's just for her 2 children.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get my head around that because, I mean, the general rule is you go by what's fine. I mean, I understand, actually, even for the zoning change, it's pretty fuzzy. I looked into that today, but I got it. I mean, I think what the chairman said is effectively we're declaring an effective date for these new lot size requirements to be for applications received after yesterday. Fine. That's fine. But there's no application to split lots. I mean, the way you apply to split lots is to present a plat. She hasn't done that yet.
So all she's done is just ask for a rezone, not split it. So-
Yeah.
All we need to consider is the rezone, right?
Yeah, you don't vote on plat.
That's all
rezone.
all we're considering is the rezone.
Right,
The second part of it, she'll have to come back and do that.
exactly.
So you're saying she would have to conform to the
Well-
4-acre?
I think she may have just 1 split, not 2, but that's, again, plats aren't handled, I mean, but this board doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Like Noah said.
Yeah,
Just
so-
the zoning, and then what her next step is in her process is here.
That's right, that's right.
And it will actually be up to you guys to explain to her
Yeah.
what her next step is. But all we're concerned, this board here is the A2 to AR.
Yeah.
Correct, sir.
You focused on it correctly.
Any questions about that? All right.
I had one quick question. Is this the one which is near the sand company?
Yes, yes, sir. You go all the way to the back of where the cul-de-sac is,
Right.
and the gated area for the sand pit is to your right, and if you look directly to your left, it'll be that property. Yes, sir.
Okay, next up is Shane Seagrave, and he is requesting to rezone a 3.83 acre portion of his 18.14 acres from A2 to AR to allow the tract to be split off for a home site for his son. The remaining 14.31 acres will remain in the A2 zone. Property is located at, 892 Hannah Creek Church Road in Royston on map 75, parcel 14 in District 4. And you will remember him, I'm sure, from last month. This was one of the two-step processes that were that he had to go through. And this is the site plan that he's, when he filed for this, it was the 3.99 maximum acreage. So that's why they're going with the 3.83. But he was approved in March for the two-step from A1 to A2. And now he's wanting to do that cut, and we would have to approve it from A2 to AR to allow that.
And this drive is directly across from where the dog kennels were over there. To give you an idea of its specific location.
And the airport.
And the airport.
And then here is the site plan. This is the remaining 14.32 acres in the back there. And then
Any additional questions or comments? All right.
Okay. Next up, Barry Lord, applicant for Tyler BC, is requesting to rezone his 9 acres from A1 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming property into compliance with current zoning regulations and to allow a 2-acre portion be split off for a home site for his wife's parents. The property is located at 1226 Highway 29 North in Danielsville on map 66, parcel 15 in District 2. And Barry, of course, is a well-known surveyor, and he is handling this for him. And Tyler's wife's parents are, you know, getting up in age and are needing some help just to live close to them. And so you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The property is only 9 acres and it's A1, so it's non-conforming, and the next one down would be AR. But, you know, in fact, they're doing it as an end goal of having 2 acres split, and I've got the site plan on the screen there. Is that TV on?
Same issue as well.
Apologize. I apologize. I'm turning 2 off now. There we go. There we go.
I'm sorry.
There we go. Sorry about that. So again, under, you know, he submitted the application prior to the change.
But y'all would just be focused, like Mr. Canola said on that last one, just on the zoning.
Yeah, not the split.
This is right past the American Legion, or where the old American Legion field was, going north on 29, on your right. Right at the edge of the city limits.
I think Terry used to be a dentist.
Yes, Dr. Busey was.
Dr. Busey. I think it was his dad's and then.
Tyler's the youngest, Thomas is the older man.
Any questions or concerns on this one? Hearing nothing, I suspect that that's so. Well,
Okay. All right, next up is Michael Carroll, and he is requesting to rezone 2 of his 27.48 acres containing his daughter's existing home from A2 to AR to allow it to be split off and gifted to her. The remaining 25.48 acres will remain in the A2 zone. Property is located at 5341 Paoli Road in Carlton on map 96, parcel 50 in District 4. So the story behind there is the daughter is already living on the property, so there's 2 homes. It was considered an ADU. There's no mortgages on homes, which is unusual, but they are wanting to add on to the home, and that will require a mortgage. So they're wanting to get that 2 acres split off, and he's just wanting to give it to his daughter to allow her to do that. But the home's already there, so.
They've already
One-
begun construction as well.
one question, since there will be 25 acres left, why does he want to leave it in A2 other than what A1?
Well, it
Or is
really
there any
never
reason?
come up. No, sir. We really didn't even address that part of it at the time.
There's a lot of chicken houses around it, maybe he doesn't want to have any chicken houses. I do want y'all to know when you're looking at it, the address is gonna take you to his house on Paoli Road, but where his daughter's house is where the rezone sign is. So it's, you're all right there on that corner, it's all one parcel.
Will you answer
Two
the
roads.
question that I had? I could not find that sign for anything.
It's in the driveway, but it's weirdly angled, but there's construction at that house, just so y'all can see what's going on, or to have a better reference for when you look.
Okay, so you just want to leave it A2?
Mm-hmm. You ready for the next?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Pulling up this for you guys. All right, next up is Richard Perez, and he is requesting to rezone his 5 acres from A2 to business to build a structure to house his wife's real estate office and to be used for a small-scale event hall. Property is located at 3021 Lim Edwards Road in Colbert on map 46, parcel 136-01 in District 3. Now, this gentleman actually does not live in the county. He's owned this 5-acre parcel for years now. His wife has a small real estate company. There's no foot traffic, no employees, but they're just wanting an office for her, basically. And then he kind of threw in the event hall there at the last minute. And if he was just doing an event hall, we could do it just as the A2, as it is, with a conditional use. But he's wanting to take it to business, and that is a little bit of spot zoning, and I did indicate that on the analysis. But that's what he's asking.
And remember, in a business zone, an event hall is a permitted use.
Yes.
Instead of a conditional.
Well, I can see why he threw the event hall in.
Yeah.
Because you can do your real estate, I mean, he can do that off in his home.
Right.
Or, convert the garage or something, but does it show, well, you didn't give us the part that shows what's around it.
Okay, I can pull that back up.
Oh, okay.
And here's the proposed building.
Oh,
No,
okay. So a lot of A2.
Yes, a lot of A2s, R3s. There's no business. They're on 72, we've got some, but this is on a very residential,
This is on Lim Evans Road?
yes.
Yes, sir.
And we already
Lot of
have
houses.
designated business alley there.
Well, this doesn't fit in the Colbert, whole corridor,
That's right.
it's out of it.
it's out of it. That larger parcel, that A1, I don't have my glasses on, I forget how many acres it is. I believe that's the county's, other industrial area, where other water tower is.
Okay.
Oh.
I thought,
Yeah.
It
this
does?
is a culvert, I'm sorry, this is a culvert damage bill.
No.
No, let me have it.
Limit.
Here it says
Oh, okay. I know, off of Culver Daniels, I know someone bought that golf course thing,
Mhm.
and they were supposed to do a bin hall there. I don't know if anything ever got started, but.
This is
Well,
near, do
yeah.
you know where Riverside Baptist Church is on
Yeah.
76? This is almost across the road from that.
Oh.
That right at Lim Edwards is.
But it's on down Lim Evans Road, it's not on 72.
No.
Right.
It's quite a ways down Lim Evans Road.
It's about 3 miles down Lim Edwards.
the trailers, or when you cross over, I use that as a visual landmark. It's about 3 parcels down from them.
Yeah, 'cause 72 is already a corridor for.
Well, it sounds like to me, he's wanting 2 businesses. Application for 2 businesses. But he
In
really-
which we have to take an application, we do, I've been told we can't say when those isn't gonna work. We do have to take those.
And this diagram right here, he's got listed shop.
Yeah.
And there's no zoning sign up.
He's got his,
911 address.
he's got his, letter of intent, I put that with your packet. Even though it's not part of the what I normally should only give out, but I thought you guys needed that. This is the proposed building. He only submitted black and white, but
Right.
this is the building that
So they purchased this land.
they've owned it.
He's already had it.
Oh, he's
for a long
on
time.
But he also said he
Yeah.
wants to use it as an event hall, but there will be no expected foot traffic. That's
For the real estate, like on day-to-day operations, it's just the real estate with no foot traffic. But then when events are held, of course there will be.
But you said you could have the event hall and stay in A2, so that's
With a
so,
conditional use.
so why?
Well, his primary goal was for his wife to have an office for her real estate company. And he just threw in the event hall as an extra. And honestly, he didn't even have to tell us that because,
So she must be one, I mean, they trying to put a sign out there or something, don't you have to have
right.
to get a sign put out?
But if we rezone it to business, I mean, that's a permitted use and that's not anything. He really didn't even have to add that. He could just said, her real estate company. But they're running it out of the home now and she's just wanting her own place. And I guess they're just trying to maximize the financial benefits out of it and, throw in an event hall as well as.
So they gonna build one building or 2?
One.
One, both of them?
Right. But the majority of it is just for her business, and then maybe on Saturdays, an event, is what he had told
Well, I
me.
don't know.
Any set of circumstances that this should be granted. I mean, she has to take the application, but that doesn't mean you have to say yes.
And the failure to display the sign to the neighbors and the general public kind of raises my hackles when I went out trying to find it.
Well, if the sign is not posted, it clearly states the sign has to be posted.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's not automatic.
And it was supposed to be up by the 24th.
Yeah. But it sounds like to me, if they wanted to disapprove, they would have just applied for a event hall. She could run she could put her desk in there and run a business out there.
But it
That doesn't make sense.
was not illegal because there's no home on it. He was just saying do it as an event hall.
Oh, she
That
would
would
not
be
be able to do
illegal.
it because there's no dwelling on the property. The conditional use would just be for the event hall. Now, if we don't see it, we can't find it, just like I know none of us sped coming down the road. Maybe somebody got a ticket, doesn't want to share it, Mike.
That's
But for her to be able to do the real estate as a home-based business, their residents would have to be on the property.
But that's what I'm not understanding. You can do real estate from remote, but I can't understand why would she need that building unless she just need it for storage for her real estate signs or something, because if she's saying there's no foot traffic coming in, I mean, you're gonna have clients coming in and out if you, but you can do all that from remote. So I'm kind of confused there, what the real estate has to do. Do you want a bin hall, or you just want a storage for real estate?
Right. And I just noticed in their letter of intent I've got posted there, they're saying that the site is very similar to the rezoning less than 72 feet north at 3115 Lim Edwards Road. I don't know what he's referring to, but, and less than 0.7 miles.
Well, this is, we're actually asking questions that they have to answer. So, they will be here, so we can.
If they get that sign up by 4 p.m. tomorrow, I've got to call them first thing in the morning. If that sign's not up, Christopher said we've got to throw it out.
I don't even know why you have to. I don't even know why you have to call.
Letters have been sent to neighbors and everything?
Yes, letters have been sent, and I haven't received any phone calls on it, surprisingly. I figured we would get a ton, but I've not received any.
Well, they put you across the road.
Yeah, he's right up on there.
Okay, well.
The B that, or the conditional, not conditional use, but the other business zone is actually where the FEMA trailers are at. Right up on.
That's 3115.
Yeah,
Which
there
is
is
frontage.
B across the highway. So
Right.
Which is fronting 72, right?
It also has frontage on
Exactly.
72.
Which is in our zone.
In our corridor,
Yeah,
so
corridor.
character area.
According to the plan that has not been adopted.
That's right.
But essentially, this one is just a few blocks off of that corridor.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's the one, I guess it raises the question of how wide is that corridor?
Right.
Exactly.
Bless you.
Even if it's not in the corridor, it does fit in the yellow area, which is the South Madison character area, and listed as residential and commercial retail. I mean, the worst case scenario is that it fits in the yellow, if it doesn't fit in the pink, in the corridor. So how does this, just for experience, I know this hasn't been approved yet, but just for the experience, how does this come into play in dealing with an application like this?
Does it fit that
It
character?
doesn't. It doesn't because it hasn't been approved yet.
I know, I'm just saying, just for the experience, I know it hasn't been approved, but if it had been approved, the fact that what they're asking for fits within the South Madison County in the residential and commercial retail area, would this tell us that this would tend to be, would not, or would fit in the character area or not? I'm just curious.
Well, as I understand, so the comp plan and the zoning map are two different things, but the zoning map, the comp plan is what you want to happen in the future. You get there gradually with zoning. So, I mean, take that area around, Butler's Crossing in Oconee County, for example. So, when the growth started there was still a lot of residential areas there. But it's put in, you know, a business, retail, commercial, whatever you want to call it, character area on their comp plan and the future land use map, which means when they get rezones, they look at the comp plan and say, oh, well, you want to rezone this from residential to business. That's where we want this area to go. That's granted. Or as opposed to, you want to rezone this from residential to intensive agriculture or multifamily residential. You look at the comp plan map and say, no, that's not where we want this to go.
I wondered from the very beginning of this comp plan, that when this gets done, how does this play into the applications for whatever? I mean, in this case, it's business. And if this falls within the yellow area, which is listed as commercial retail, I don't know if we can call this commercial retail or not, but it's something we would consider based on the map.
Would be a factor in helping make your decision.
So maybe it is appropriate then.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
It will be one of the things that you consider you'll have to consider the comp plan and your zoning ordinances and your zoning regulations. All of that has to be considered.
Yes, sir.
One does not outweigh the other.
Yes, sir. I agree.
And I think we're gonna have a lot of feedback, because remember when we did the FEMA, there was a lot of people here. And even when that guy wanted to change his, businesses back there in that same area,
It's your doing.
yeah, he wanted to, so I think there's gonna be some feedback on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, there always is, but again, the comp plan is the vision of the whole county, as Mr. Smith has explained so eloquently to us several times. No, William's the one that always explains the comp plan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just trying to talk about Lee. We just can't get your name right some days.
But that's right, I mean, so, you know, if you got a major highway, you've got water going down it, sewer probably coming there faster than anywhere else. You see the commercial growth is already sort of wanting to go there, you put it on your comp plan, and that's all directing how you make these decisions on the individual rezone applications.
I mean, I think it would say a lot if nobody showed up to oppose it too, right? I mean, that,
But their notice with no sign coming up.
well, that, if the sign was there and nobody opposed.
And I have sent out letters, I have not received any feedback.
Well, and even before we had it, but the signage, I mean, and this is typical in all the rural counties from what I've seen. You know, you give them the sign, they're supposed to put it up. If they fail to comply, I mean, if you grant it and then somebody somebody files suit based on the sign not being there, that's their risk. You know, we don't care if it gets turned overturned.
Well, I need a little clarification on that now. It clearly says that this sign must be posted.
It doesn't say you have to do it, it says the landowner has
It says the landowner has to do it. And if the landowner doesn't do it, is the landowner not in violation of the things that they're supposed to do?
Yeah,
In order
I mean,
for
if
this to be,
that would be a valid, I mean, if you want to turn down a rezone ever because they failed to post a sign, sure, you could do that. But if you're getting into this thing of, is it posted in the right place? I mean, you don't have to bite off this fight in the gray area of whether it's clearly posted or not. That's his risk. I don't know why you want to get into that, into a judgment call when you don't have to. Maybe you do.
It does, right?
I've been here 20+ years, I know folks here like.
well, maybe I don't. But I do say that if they're given the guidelines, they're given the regulations that they're supposed to abide by. If they don't abide by it, then that's a reason that you get turned down.
I just did that.
Like showing up to the hearing, that's something they're required to do, and if they don't do it, then.
Right.
So if it's not posted by 4 tomorrow, Christopher.
And if I remember correctly, this is not the first time we've had a posting issue. We had one once before that never got posted, and we denied it because it didn't never get posted.
The thing I wouldn't want you to get hung up on, because I have seen this happen a couple times, fortunately not more, I don't think, is, I mean, if the zoning office here can attest from their personal knowledge that it wasn't posted correctly, sure, that's a reason to turn it back. If you get into the public hearing and neighbors come up and say, that sign wasn't there, and he says, yeah, it was, and nobody knows for sure, you don't want to get into that. That's his risk. Let the landowner sue him if he wants to overturn the rezone.
But now, we do send code enforcement out to verify each stop sign
Yeah.
to make sure that it is posted within the time.
Yeah, but you're not there every second of every day.
True,
That's the
true.
reason I wanted to discuss it tonight. Reach out to him tomorrow, because we didn't make it in until a little after 5. Reach out to him tomorrow, give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe the wind blew it down, with the gust today, and reach out to him.
Right, right.
And we as a board, as part of our duties, supposed to go out and look at them.
Gonna set you up a camp chair like you go
No,
buy
no, no,
some
no,
Smith
no.
t-shirt?
No, one time. Not every time. We're supposed to go out and look at it. But anyway,
So we are gonna reach out to him tomorrow to, you know, see if he posted the sign, if the wind blew it down, what his story is, you know,
Right.
and what have you, give him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm
give him
surprised,
the-
because he's been very eager and Johnny on the spot with everything, so.
Well, it has been very windy for what, 3 or 4 days. So
Yeah.
You gotta see what the story is.
Yeah, exactly,
Wind's a pretty good excuse.
yeah.
But if the dog ate that dog sign, I'm not buying it.
Right.
all right, Ms. Tracy, let's move on.
All righty, next up is Joy Christian, applicant for her daughter Angela Schubert, is requesting to rezone her 9.13 acres of her property from A2 to AR to bring the lawfully non-conforming property into compliance with zoning regulations and to allow a 2-acre split for an additional home site for a family member. Property is located at 400 Charlie Morris Road in Colbert on map 58, parcel 16 in District 5. And, what it is actually Joy Christian's land, but her daughter Angela, has, I guess, can't recall the term, rights over it in case her mom gets sick or, it's all in her name, even though it's her mom's land. But anyway, so right now it's non-conforming because it's under 10 acres. It's in an A2 zone. The next step down would be AR, but of course there is an end goal, and that's to allow a 2-acre split for a family member. And then the remaining 7.13 acres, with the existing home is on there as well. So I got the site plan pulled up.
I think she's,
Oh, okay.
And there's enough road frontage for both, and
And both parcels will be AR.
that's right.
Questions on this one? Hearing none?
All righty, next up, pull up that site plan real quick. All right, next up is Tanya Hardy, applicant for her husband Charles Hardy, is requesting to rezone his 10 acres from A2 to AR to allow a 2-acre split for their son to build a home on. The property is located at 1690 on Helican Springs Road in Hull on map 18, parcel 43 in District 1. And if you'll remember, they were a part of, this is a 2-step rezone. They were originally A1, and with it only being 10 acres, they were non-conforming, so we had to mandate that they go down to the next step, which was A2. So that happened last month. So even though they're 10 acres and are conforming now, they're wanting to cut off that 2 acres for their son to build a home. And then, of course, that would leave them 8 acres, so they both would be AR. And I've got that site plan up here, and they both have road frontage.
And I guess because of financial reasons, they're not interested in accessory dwelling.
Correct, they've got to borrow money, and they always want their own little piece of the land, the bank does.
I know the
Well, the bank can take all of it, but people don't want to give them all of it.
Right, right. Well, you know, I've heard them say that the bank doesn't want all that, they just want like 5 acres. That's what I keep hearing, and I thought like you, but, yeah, but I've heard multiple people say that.
The road frontage on Safford,
Yeah.
Safford Road wouldn't count, they'd have to come off Pelican Springs Road, but, I think it's on there, 114 off Safford Road.
200 off of the, dump on it.
Pelican Springs,
Yeah.
so we'd have to use the driveway on the Pelican Springs, right?
Correct, yeah.
Primary address, is my understanding. They could have an exit going out, but their address would have to.
Right, and that, right now, their address is 1690 Helen Springs.
I mean, I know you have access to easement
Is there,
addresses.
is there a requirement that you have to drop down someone to the next zone? In this case, they were originally A1, right?
Right,
So they've already gone through the process to go to A2.
yeah.
Is there something that says that they could not have gone from A1 to A to begin with?
There is, it was during the moratorium, and it's still the moratorium. You had to bring it into conformity before you can rezone it to anything else. That was, now that's gonna be eliminated after the moratorium. You can just do a straight thing, and that's what's caused the, you know, the volume of rezones to go up, is because we had so many two-steps.
So it's a moratorium.
When is the moratorium over?
22nd.
We're praying that it won't be extended.
I don't want.
Me either.
Questions on this one?
Topic of the evening, go ahead.
Can I say something before you go to that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to bring to this board, consideration of, maybe we might, it looks like we might need to look in more depth, into depth with, coming up with, something more in depth with these kennels, dog kennels, of zoning or ordinance that's more clear or more in depth.
If we went any more in depth, we would have to unadopt our state. We would have to write our entirely new ordinance just for dog kennels. Right now, we've adopted the state's, under, I think it's under our administrative procedure or something like that, that we adopted state rules in it.
Well, I mean, you don't have to adopt, that's what I said before, you don't have to adopt the law that's superior to, I mean, that's all state law.
Yeah.
You can't get different from
We
it.
have not created anything more constringent
Right,
than state law.
right.
That's how I need to say it.
Yeah,
The
you
county
can-
has not adopted anything more constringent than state law.
Right.
So if we do make it more constringent, we'd have to write an entire,
Well, you have to come up with what your additional restraints are, what requirements
and
are,
who would enforce them.
and have somebody to enforce them.
Because, it seems like we're getting a lot, and there, like you said, we don't know how many are out there that are operating illegally. And I know there's a need for, because of the other kennels, the state overwhelmed with dogs and stuff like that. If it becomes everybody's business, we have a lot in whole county, and, it just may become
Now, might be correct me if I'm wrong, with us having the state, or not having anything more constringent than the state and having it under a conditional use, just me spitballing you here, I feel like we have greater leniency or constriction on it as it attaches to zoning. So if we set something up where a kennel, spitballing, throwing stuff out, that a kennel cannot exceed 15 dogs in Madison County. But then you have somewhere like Shaker Egg Hounds, a 100-acre facility that's entirely geared towards fox hunting, and they have over 200 dogs. We wouldn't be able to work with them.
Is that personal
Exactly.
kennels, or can we say, like, some of these people it's their personal business or something. I know you're talking about something that's more
There's a hunt club.
Yeah, hunting club.
Well, then we're gonna have to get into defining each type of kennel.
Well, I mean, but your point is well taken, is that the whole reasoning behind these conditional uses is these are things that may or may not be appropriate in any given zone. It depends on some deeper factual circumstances. So people have to come to you, present those factual circumstances. That gives you the opportunity to put conditions on that rezone, like number of dogs or whatever is appropriate for it. And the final step being, I recently learned apparently we don't have any enforcement mechanisms for conditions, so. But that's just something that's gotta be fixed. Yeah, that's just gotta be fixed.
Is each situation with the dog kennels have to be treated separately? My problem is that if we're not consistent with the conditions we're putting on, how do you make somebody put up a barrier and another one not?
Yeah, so I try to, every time you have a conditional use application, I try to point back to 11.4, let's see, what's the application requirements? No, I think it's in 11.3, conditional uses. So that tells you, so those are your objective criteria. Now it's subject, I mean, they're not numbers, they wouldn't be objective to an engineer, but they're objective to a lawyer. They're at least defined things that you're supposed to consider, like the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area. Adequate public facilities are available, will not be injurious in use or enjoyment of the environment or other property in the immediate vicinity. So I think a lot of law is procedure, because it's hard to make everything equal. That's just not how the world works. But if you go through this checklist and can document that you have considered these factors for each and every conditional use you grant or deny, that's I think you satisfy the law.
So let me just look out a little bit. I think that what you're asking is for this board to take a in-depth look at dog kennels. And I would suggest that we put that on the agenda as one of the items to be discussed at a later date. I mean, obviously, we're not prepared to discuss it tonight, but it gives everybody an opportunity to look at it. And you, in your rights to request that we look at it in depth, we may do something and we may not do anything. But I think that I would ask that it be put on the agenda for our next business meeting.
And I'm just like Stephanie, we need to stay consistent. If we have one with barrier, we may have something that we'd have to talk about when it comes up to discussion. You don't ask one to do it, we need to ask everyone to do it, so.
But whatever it is you're asking them to do or not do needs to be on, if there's 8 things in 11.3. You need to look at those 8 things every time and justify it by those. If you made this one do it and you don't make this one do it, there should be a reason in this list of 8 that it's appropriate there and not here.
So how does that work with the most recent one? And I know it's going back to VOC, but I had a problem with, because he was A1, correct?
Which was
This last one that we
I
did?
want to say he's A2. He's A2.
Yeah, he had to, because he's, just 16 acres, so it was A2.
A2,
Okay.
right.
Because you have to have 25 if it's A1.
Gotcha. I just worry when telling people with the buffers, like would we be telling somebody that had cows on the property that they have to have a buffer?
No. Cows don't bark.
Well, when you're weaning cows, they cry, for days, many days, and I just don't want that to be, come back and.
I can understand there's one dealing with chicken houses where there was an increased buffer around them from our 300 to 500. And I'm just waiting for that one to come back and kick us.
Well, I mean, if they didn't, I mean, if the owner, if that condition's already been imposed and the owner didn't appeal from it within 30 days, that's done.
Yeah.
So,
You got something?
I was just gonna say, I mean,
too bad.
coming alongside, I mean, it's something to where we don't wanna make that an option in a,
Go for it.
it needs to be in a board zoning
Yeah, we
classification. That
did
could
you
be
say my
something,
turn speeds?
that we look at.
And do it for a change?
you know, with what you're talking about there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying,
Right. No, I agree with what, I mean, we obviously see the number of, that we've had come to us, and we don't wanna add anything that I guess we have to monitor ourselves, but
Right.
that would be a possibility as a way to, I don't wanna say constrict or limit, but that would be something that we could look at.
That's true.
And I think there's a lot of speculation in this as well. I mean, among other things, the gentleman mentioned that the Kelly was talking about was going to be self-contained, which is air conditioning, and it's going to cut down on the noise and all the rest, that sort of stuff. And I think there's a lot of variables that I don't know if we can make a general, rule that we do this for this, all of them. Sometimes there's going to be those kind of conditions, whereas this one was obviously, it was only 16 acres, and there were neighbors that were very close, and were worried about that, and that sort of thing. I mean, I thought that was, I'm just not sure that there's so many variables in this thing that I don't know that you could make any sort of rule that would apply to every single one.
It was asked, Mr. Chairman, at the meeting, I can't remember if it was Brian Kirk who asked it or not, wanting to create a guideline sheet for what the state guidelines are. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if we were all present, Stephanie. I know you weren't. A year or more ago, I sent out the links with all the, or an email out with all the links that takes you to the GDA's website dealing with kennels. I'm going to resend that to the DOC, but I'll resend it as well in preparation for the kennels back out. Just, because I know y'all save all my emails a little while.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But that way.
Going to sleep, pull that one up. That's great to hear it.
But I will resend it as a refresher. Everybody's got it, and make sure that all the links are still valid as well. But I'll get that one to y'all this week.
Well, this is also, I'm considering that, and I understand what you're saying, that we don't want for our county, maybe another county is more restricted. Mm-hmm. So they say, okay, we can go to Madison County. Then that's why I said we become the place for those businesses to park. That's what I'm just saying.
Be ready. Be ready. We'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move on to number 4.
All right, that's discussion, recommendations on the final draft of the comprehensive plan, and that was requested by the Board of Commissioners.
Mr. Gabby, I'm a little confused by exactly what our mandate is in this. We're to discuss and recommend, like, approval? Or are we just
We'll
recommend?
have to ask Christopher.
I mean, I'm not sure what recommendation.
I just want you to know that that's a great question. My understanding, because I wasn't given directive to it, because at the same time that they asked for this, to get the P&Z board's eyes on it, I hadn't even received the final draft. I had to go searching for it that next day to get out to y'all. And that took a little hoodooing, to be honest with you, to get this final draft. Because I don't think all county staff knew exactly where it was sitting at, coming back from the DCA, or which version that they really had as well, since they got kicked back twice. and everything, so, Mr. Bradley tonight, pointed out to me that there was a typographical error. I'm gonna make sure I know that and let them know, hey, it's Highway 29, not 129. I think two areas that Commissioner Chandler spoke, spoke about in particularly were the, Dogsboro area and the Carlton area were two that I don't know if he randomly threw them out or if that was a focused area that he mentioned at the VOC meeting. But if I could help direct, each one of us is wherever that comp plan affects you and your district. Maybe hone in on that instead of us having to look at this whole 180-something page document. Which you're welcome to, please don't think I'm trying to tell you not to, but, District 1, like, see about those character areas that are in your district and how it flows over what connects with your other, neighboring districts to see if, it's up to par. So to say, just as a final glancing over before we turn in the report to the teacher.
Well, I feel like that, they have asked us to do, actually, at this point, an impossible task.
So interpreting the emails that I saw from Christina today, I think
we're gonna look at the same doggone email.
Yeah, I think what she's saying is that, and she talked to Mark Beatty at Regional Commission.
Do you see Mark's replies from minor and major?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at now. So as I interpret this, I think, the plan is going to have to be adopted as it is. What we're talking about, I guess, are whether after it's adopted, you want to make any adjustments to it, which you can make your minor adjustments internally. There's a procedure here that Christina's explained, and then if it's a major.
I don't think it went out to me.
Yes, and then if it's a major amendment, it's a more involved procedure, but I don't think any of that can happen before the end of this month.
No, there's no way we can get back to the board before they have to turn it in. And I think the only thing that we could do to attempt to fulfill this request is to look at it, and if you see something, say, just for you, Mr. Gandy, in the Comer character area and the surrounding area where it may relate to Matico Park, you speak to your commissioner and you tell him this may be an issue in the future. When you adopt this, I want you to know this might be a hot button topic, bringing in residential next to a solar farm and more chicken houses in 1.5 mile radius than anywhere else in the county. Or in this, simply getting back over towards like the Colbert area, you've got this designed for a business corridor, but then right next to that business corridor is the major subdivisions of the county. So you need to be aware of whatever business that you look at rezoning or bringing into where I'm, the area that, the character area you live in, you need to be aware that it might not be the best thing to put a pool hall in right next to a senior center or some of that nature. I don't know, it might be some Hell's Angel seniors, I don't know. But I think each of y'all just take it in your own bites.
Yeah.
And if y'all have anything, please feed it to me, and then I'll feed it to the board or feed it direct.
Well, that was my, also, I was wondering, because I was getting ready to section off that 180 when I called you. And I said, I started looking at, where they got their information and stuff from. And a lot of that was inconclusive. But we're not looking at that. We're looking at our area.
Well,
I'd say
Christopher, I thank you for trying your best to explain what they want.
I do.
But I'm not sure that what you say is what they want. I think that they need to send us some better directions as to what they actually want.
I don't think that they were asking us to review the entire comp plan. I've talked to Commissioner Chandler since, and he's the one that brought up that he was sending us AR, ADUs, industrial, commercial, these various things, wanting to, they postponed the comp plan with, and his intent, as way I understand it, is he wanted to make sure that if we were gonna review those things, to make sure that it was not gonna have any impact on the end result of the comp plan, or it wasn't gonna change anything.
Okay.
That's what I took. So it wasn't to, here's the entire plan, review it.
That helps narrow it down for us.
If we're gonna look at ADUs and that's gonna impact the comp plan in some way, it needs to be done now before they approve it, so.
Except I don't think it can be done now.
No.
I don't think it can either,
I think,
and there's more commissioners than Commissioner Chop.
well, he's the one who brought this up.
I understand, he brought it up, but
I understand.
But if there are
Other guys
conflicts there, there's certainly, looking for them sooner rather than later is better, and it's always things you would take into account either as you're looking at those specific putting them in the zoning ordinance, or perhaps a minor or major amendment to the comp plan later, so that's the way I interpret it.
Well, they need to give us detail and what, a time that they're gonna give us, because that's a lot.
Well, this has a
And I
deadline, right?
Yeah, there's no way we could meet the
So
deadline.
it's
Oh, yeah, I know,
going
but if
through anyways, right?
Yeah, again,
They have
and you've had
no-
more conversation than I have, Lisa. I mean, my just sort of 30,000 foot view was just giving y'all an opportunity, if you've seen things that you want to give them comment on, please give them your comments. It doesn't mean that the comp plan is going to be changed in the next 30 days.
Right.
But it's stuff that may be taken into account in the future.
June 1st deadline, I think.
Well, the comp plan is just a footprint, right?
Comp plan is a vision statement more than
Yeah,
anything.
they've had comp plans before and never followed them, but I'm just saying, it's just a footstep. Just like a footprint that they're looking at, this county.
Well, the comp plan is,
And then-
again, it's a vision statement of what you want overall and in specific areas, and then you're gonna have to, get a new zoning ordinance to implement that vision.
And there's other lawyers that are waiting on that for future development that will utilize those tools to, help shape the future of the county.
Needless to say, I appreciate that. I think that, talking about each of us looking at our districts helps a little bit, But, I tell you what, when we talk about the amount of taking this vision and then actually making it implementation, when you just look over the things, the to-do list that are in this thing, a welcome center, inventory of empty buildings, industrial development committee established, water resources department.
Yeah.
I guess we need to find a dog catcher, capital improvement program. It's like, yeah, but but just having a vision saying, we'd like to have these things, my goodness.
all those are Christmas problems.
I'm glad that we got that clarified.
Economic development's been added to your title, I'm sure.
Comp plan gets approved in June 1st.
It's going to be approved by June first.
Well, what we're gonna do about the rezone, trying to rezone that out of whack, but or still, because
I don't know, but what I envision is that those applications that she has gotten fall back to what we've been doing.
what we're gonna do.
Anything after that,
And there's about 50 pending.
anything after that falls into the new category, just like the 2 acre, 4 acre deal. That's the way I see it there. Is that, Mr. Attorney, is that?
I'm sorry, what? I was still thinking about Christopher being the economic development director on top of everything else. I didn't know that. I thought I was making a joke.
Hasn't come yet, we still have one more meeting. and then
The question was, if this comp plan is adopted by June 1st,
Yeah,
which it should be,
has to be.
which it has to be, which it will be,
Right.
okay. What happens after that? And my question was, my answer to that was, everything that Tracy has that's already in the hopper will conclude as is. Everything after that will fall under the new comp plan and the new.
Not the comp plan, though.
Not necessarily the comp plan.
No, I mean, that's the.
Well, that was the question about the comp plan.
And I don't,
Separate too.
yeah. Yeah, there's no dividing, there's no distinct, and sort of get back where we started tonight. You know this comp plan is gonna be adopted. I think you should go ahead and start looking at it as you're making zoning decisions, even though it technically isn't adopted yet. Now, because if this is not a vested rights, ex post facto, whatever, it's not those legalities with the comp plan. So what happens after the comp plan's adopted? Hopefully, there's a really, frankly, the outside consultant to help really do at least advise us on how to deal with our zoning ordinance, subdivision regulations, and other land use regulations to make them effective tools to implement the vision that's in this comp plan. And give out, and why would Mr. Chandler and others want y'all to look at it? I don't think y'all didn't have to vote on the comp plan, did you? Nope. So, but you are gonna have to vote on all these things to implement the comp plan. So, maybe I'm being over optimistic, but I think really in the spirit of goodwill, the Board of Commissioners is saying, we want you guys to be reading this thing and thinking about it, starting now, starting yesterday, because you're gonna be a vital part of implementing it.
But specifically what you were referencing was AR going from 2 acres to 4 acres. As of something that comes in, or that came in today,
Too late.
it would be 4 acres.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
I think that's what.
Correct.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the comp plan.
He was saying the comp plan, but I think he was referencing AR in the size of, in addressing the pending cases that we have in this backlog.
Yes, I mean, the chairman's, and I think it was the Board of Commissioners' intent that the effective date will be applications received starting this morning for those 2 acres requirements. Yeah, he pretty much said that. So, now here's the thing, and I was writing notes on this after our first little discussion here, I was going to talk to you about that, I was talking to him about it. Since Madison County does not require a survey to accompany a rezone application in the first place, I think you may be stuck with, for example, you have some here to rezone the AR for a 2 acre parcel, or 3.9 acre parcel. Some of those have site plans or surveys with them, some of them don't. Some of them are AR just for the whole 9 acres, and they didn't put a site plan or survey in, but they're going to, or that's what they're doing it for. The only solution to this may be just to fall back on the provision that you have after you've gotten the rezone, you have to record a survey within 1 year. All of these applications for AR that were pending as of yesterday, if they're granted, they may have a year to come in and present their plats. Then we change it to 6 months. Okay, 6 months, yeah.
What will it take?
Do we know, from speaking with the commissioners, where we're at with the third party? Will they be voting on that?
Oh, I don't know any more than I heard at the meeting last night.
County staff and council have been requested to put together some legal documents to go out.
I just found that out tonight, because apparently you were tasked to tell me that.
You were in the email?
Not that one.
Some legal documents for what?
RFP, if we need to go through with it. So there's some.
To get an outside group?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was Stephanie's question,
Yeah.
Yeah, you said we didn't need an RFP, cause I think I.
Well, it's not legally required.
I think
mean,
I
it may be a
overheard
good
your-
business decision. I
Your
don't know.
conversation earlier, that can lead, in my mind, an RFP, we're gonna take the lowest bid. That shouldn't be the case here, I wouldn't think.
It shouldn't be, I mean, but an RFP can be useful, I mean, I think they're really good when you have a real well-defined set, a list of what you want your end result to be, and you want to give people the opportunity to propose different
Their
methodologies of
scope
getting to there.
more in-depth scope of work for them.
Yes, right, yeah, you know,
We're
my
giving
personal
them a
bias is,
filter.
but you gotta really, for an RFP to work, you've gotta really give the proposers a good target to aim at, which it often does not happen. And it does sort of fall to the low bidder thing, which is why state law only requires bidding or proposal, RFPs or invitations to bid in one circumstance, and that's for the general contractor on public works construction. Even the engineer and architect can be hired without an RFP or bid, because those are just unique things. You want to talk to people, get references, and see who you think's gonna do the best job.
We gotta get the paperwork completed, we gotta look for them.
Okay.
That's the country version of it.
I'm sorry.
But you don't have to necessarily go with low bid unless you've got a good reason. I mean.
Haven't been given that in-depth of marching orders yet.
Well, that's the whole concept behind an RFP. It's the most advantageous, taking into account many other factors as well as price.
Are we still having to meet the 19th in here?
For the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, I was like, thinking, am I missing the top of that? No, it's all day thing.
I'll send out a reminder email for everybody.
Y'all tell Todd to buy us lunch.
Did you say
That's
that
right.
commissioners are gonna be in that training too?
Mm-hmm. I have set it up to where, Ms. Tracy, myself, council,
Yeah, I didn't know about this date, and my daughter's wedding is May 21st, so I probably
so
will not
you
be
got
here.
time to work it in.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna talk to Tracy Kerrigan about that one, big boy.
Let them meet with them and drink it. The county clerk, the deputy clerk, everyone on the, planning and zoning board, and everyone that is on the board of commissioners, I have been able to afford to train all of them. Moving forward, if you don't show up, I might be able to get one more.
There you
But
go.
you got a daughter that wants to get married. Fun with them. But yes, we are moving forward with the training date, right on time. They'll be out, because they want that check. Also, at that point in time, I'll be asking them about trying to get some interns to help us out as well. They just don't know that yet.
Good idea. MPA program that you did? Yeah.
Trying to get 20 shadow hours over the summer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Trying to get them in. But, yes. And then I think the other one is April, not April, we missed it.
July 28th.
To July 28th. Maybe it'll be in this round.
It's the day of the ribbon cutting from mobile medley unit in Carlton. I guess I can just.
That's all right, we've got him missing away.
I think that's right. Anything else? Not, we got a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Have a motion second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
Email from Christina, and I'll read the slide too. 3 and an email from Christina.
Christopher, next time, set up meeting Fridays off limits.
I didn't get to choose these dates.
I'm gonna try to make it. I'll be a little late, but I'll be there.
Yes. Yeah, you know, you sent it to me, Tracy, Colin, and Lacey.
She already has it.
Stephanie, 13.